We're going to be focusing on about 8 features. We'll be going over 3.43 and 3.44. A lot of it will be detailing things dealing with the trucking side, so the carrier management within the TMS. So let's get started. The first screen or feature that I want to go over is called Document Preview in the detail pages. So this is a very simple update, but makes it a lot easier when it comes to managing documents within loads. So if I go from the trip or the order side, you can see I have different documents inside the system. If I go to, let's say, this load as well, there we go. And if I click on one of the documents, what we're going to see is that when I do that, instead of opening up as a separate window or downloading, it's going to open up as a slider. So it just simply allows you to have quicker access to the documents, to review them, and make sure that everything is okay. Now, one little kind of sneak peek into what's happening in the next few months with Amous TMS is if you're already using the AI feature through OpenAI. Right now we have the options to read rate confirmations, but again, in the next couple of months, we're going to be able to create a feature that it looks at the document that has already been uploaded and let you know if it's clear or not. So that way, whether you're doing direct billing or factoring, it will say, hey, this document is not good. Possibly you need to upload a new document. Keep a lookout on the next releases that'll happen in the future, but that will be available in Amous in the next few months. Now, the next feature is what we call the Order Detail Invoice Review and Auditing tool. So what I'm going to do is switch to the order side from my dispatch board, and I'm going to select one of the orders that have been delivered by one of my carriers, for instance. So this can be accessed from the detail screen. As you know, the detail screen can be opened from the dispatch board, the invoice list, master invoice list, so on and so forth. But either way, as long as you make it to the screen, on the top right, you have this dollar sign. Now, if I click on the dollar sign, this is going to allow you to have a side-by-side visibility and also review certain information about this specific order to make the billing process and auditing review a lot easier, right? Actually, let me switch to a better example where I have an invoice as well. There we go. So the first thing I want to cover is on the left side, you have the rate and the invoice. So I can easily switch between the two. Before you had to go to the tabs at the bottom of the order screen, tab over, it just made it very difficult. So now you can just have them side-by-side visibility when you select this tool. And it's the same exact screen that you would see if you open up the rate. If I go down, I have a line haul, discount, fuel, and additional charges, and I can easily switch over to the invoice side and look at what am I actually going to be invoicing my customers. So since this is a new tool, we started out with allowing you to view them side by side, but we are going to be adding more features to make it a little bit easier to use to say, okay, what's the rate versus the invoice? Is there a discrepancy or a variance amount between the two different records? And allow you to go in and make any decisions that you need to. And anything that you go in and make adjustments, let's say to the invoice or the rate, once you do that, you simply click submit, and thus you'll be able to go to the next step. Now, on the right side, you can see we have documents related to this order. So if you have the rate confirmation, proof of delivery, BOL, any pictures that the customers needs to see, they will be seen right inside here. Or if you need to upload a new document, you click on select files or drag and drop the file to make it a lot easier. Now, if I switch to the notes, these are notes that you can keep about the financial information, specifically about this order. So as you know, we do have the general notes section within the trip and order profiles. So for instance, if I go back into the load and I switch down, you have the notes. This is built more, in this case, for the dispatchers and operations people. But if I switch over to this field with the dollar sign, this notes is exclusively for accounting people. So I can go in, add any note that I need, post it, make edits to it, delete it, or click on the pin icon to make it extra important, adds it to the top so that way everybody can see it. Now, the next thing that we can do is click on merge. All this is if I want to print or create the actual invoice document itself, I would select the type of document that I'm creating. So I would say customer invoice, and also select any additional documents that I want to go in and attach it into one PDF file. So again, very useful tool for the accounting and auditing aspects of things. If I go to my general customer invoice list and open up one of these invoices as I'm auditing them and marking them as ready for billing, I click on the detail, click on the dollar sign, and there you go. I have the rates, the invoice, all the documents, the notes. I can merge, create documents or PDF packages, and go on with my day when it comes to billing. Now, the next one is view driver payroll in the mobile app. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to go inside the payroll screen of the system and open up a payroll. Before, what needed to be done is that I generate the payroll, I go through all the deductions, fuels, things like that, make sure that everything is okay for the driver. And then I would need to generate the statements, click submit, and I would have all the documents or statements that have been created. Then I would have to go and click on email, submit, and email every single individual payroll out. Now, instead of having to do all of that, if the driver is utilizing the Amous Driver mobile app, all they would have to do is go to the payroll screen in the mobile app, open it up, click on the document, and it would show the full statement based on the custom document that we create for you, like this in this case. So that way you don't have to email, download, or do anything. It's just automatically sent to the driver. Next is trailer tracking manual call. So if you're doing any trailer tracking through Amous TMS, what you'll be able to do is go to your fleet trailer list. And if I go into one of my trailers, open it up, you can see there's a last known location. So it would only work if you do have a GPS unit connected to the trailer through an API integration. So for instance, with Samsara, Motive, Skybits, Orbcom, so on and so forth. But we have the configuration to say automatically pull the trailer location, let's say every 30 minutes, or if in between you want to get the real-time data, you would simply click on get the latest location about the trailer, and it would do an API call to your service provider for the GPS tracking and show you the latitude and longitude, the address, depending on what the integration actually is allowed to send to us. Next one is factoring fee calculations. So something a lot of people have been asking within Amous is that if you're working with a factoring company, can I enter in how much my factoring fee is to automatically calculate it and run reports based on what has been billed out of the Amous TMS system? So in order to set this up, what we're going to do is go to configurations. We're going to go into invoices and then customer invoices at the top. If we scroll down just a bit, you can see there's a section that says factoring fee type and factoring fee rate. So depending on the agreement that you have with your factoring company, you'll be able to say, okay, my factoring fee is 2%. So you would go to this drop-down list, select percent, and then add to and submit. And now what happens is that this information will be seen through multiple different pages within the TMS. So the easiest one to show you is that if I go into the customer invoice screen, open up one of the invoices, there you go. It tells you what the balance is or the amount of the invoice, $15.11, but also there's a factoring fee of $30.22. Now what we can do next is on the invoice list, the order list, whatever it may be, I can go in and say, show me the factoring fee. Or if I go into the order side, views order, let me close this out, add it in here, invoices factoring fee. So you can build out a report again. These are all old invoices. That's why we're not going to see any of the factoring fees inside here. Is only going to be for new invoices, but you would get the results in the invoices factoring section. Now, if you're utilizing the analytics and the pivot tables within Amous TMS, I can also go to the order side, pull that field, and say factoring fee, apply it, and build out my report exactly the way I want to see it by selecting the invoice factoring fee, apply it, and it would show you the sum of the invoices. So again, this is allowing you to say, okay, this is, I'm using, let's say, Triumph Business Capital. They are charging me 2%. And what is my true gross for this fee after I have paid my factoring company? Next one is driver cards comments. So as you know, driver cards are utilized for us to be able to look at our drivers and their workloads, off times, unavailable periods, things like that. But if I go into one of the drivers, let's say John Portman, and click on his little icon JP, on the right side, it's going to open up all the information that you already know about, like the license number, HOS, stuff like that. But we have added a section inside here called the comments. So the comments can really be utilized for anything that you want. For instance, let's say this driver hates going to Florida, so we're going to say, don't ever dispatch this driver to Florida. Or he has 3 straps, 15 straps, whatever else. Whatever is required of you to enter inside here to make your job easier as a dispatcher within Amous, you can go in, make adjustments, and then anytime you switch between the driver profiles by clicking on their avatar on the left side, you'll be able to remind yourself, okay, with this driver, I need to do X, Y, and Z, or this is the type of equipment or components that he has available in order for me to do the load. Now, with the comments, one more thing that I do want to add is that if I go into the menu and open up the driver's profile, let's say John Portman, that's who we talked about, go in, you can see that inside here we have a comment section on the main page, and this is the same comment section that shows up in the driver cards. So you technically have 2 different views from where you can make those edits. Next one is that if you guys are using the fleet vendor tool inside Amous and you're doing the payrolls with the vendors, and in the vendor payroll, you're assigning the driver payrolls, what we can do now is if I go into the detail and click on the driver payroll section, instead of having to switch between the driver payrolls and the vendor payrolls to see the details, you can simply click on the edit tool now and be able to see all the information about the driver payroll with the fuel, toll charges, expenses, deductions, whatever else, again, without having to switch different screens and different visibilities. So directly from the fleet vendor, you get to see all of your information. Last one that I want to cover about for this release cycle is that if we go into our fleet trailer visibility, you have the map section. So this is, again, a visibility on the trailer tracking, depending on load status updates, GPS tracking integrations, things like that. But we now have added a filter that I can click on, show me all the loaded or unloaded trailers by simply clicking on the switch. All right, so that concludes our release webinar. Thank you so much for joining, for those who have joined, and have a great rest of the day.